Well, I'm a historian and philosopher of science, not a scientist. So my interests are somewhat different from most of the people here. I'm particularly interested in humankind, obviously, and the story that science tells about humankind and its origins. And obviously, today this is an evolutionary story, not just evolutionary, but one which relies very heavily on Charles Darwin's theory of evolution through natural selection. What I'm particularly interested in is the extent to which the scientific story both contradicts and at the same time complements and draws on the rival Christian story, where we're created miraculously by a good God, and where humans are not just another organism, but particularly important because we're made in the image of God. And so my particular interest is in how scientists using Darwin's theory can offer an explanation of our origins, and yet at the same time not necessarily privilege us in the way that Christianity does, or perhaps indeed we want to privilege ourselves at some level. I think this is made particularly intense by Darwin's theory, because the whole point about Darwin's theory is that there's no absolute progress, there's no absolute better. In a sense, what succeeds is what succeeds. And so, of course, this makes it particularly intense and interesting when you come to humans. We want to think that walking on our hind legs, having big brains is somehow not just better, but almost inevitable. And of course, the scientists here and other scientists say not necessarily. Having big brains has a big cost. And so why indeed did we evolve? So the particular interest then, as I say, is the extent to which we can tell a story about human origins, using Darwin's theory, and yet at the same time not build in some kind of special progression, some kind of special privilege for humankind, and yet at the same time not overreact and make us just the, what shall I say, the jackals or the warthogs of the ape world. So this is the particular interest I've got, and this is why I find a meeting like this so very stimulating.